Let's talk. Spencer and Zach Explore the Universe is brought to you by Maine Spirits. Learn more about the delicious spirits they bring into the great state of Maine and what you can make with them at mainspirits.com, on Instagram at Maine_spirits, or download their app for your smartphone. Stay tuned at the end of the show for Happy Hour.
Spencer and Zach Explore the Universe is also brought to you by Bull Moose, now open for safe distance shopping. Get all of your music, movies, gaming, books, and pop culture needs at Bull Moose, with dozens of locations peppered throughout Maine and New Hampshire, or shop from home at bullmoose.com.
Also by State Theater, Portland, Maine. Though State Theater is closed for concerts at present, they are still working to bring you the best music entertainment in the comfort and safety of your home. Visit statetheater.com for more information, show schedules, and merchandise.
And by the Maine Music Alliance, a Maine-based nonprofit dedicated to the preservation of Maine's independent music venues. Learn more and donate at mainmusicalliance.org.
And by Sun Tiki Studios, a top-notch rehearsal and performance space on Forest Avenue in Portland. Though closed for concerts for the time being, Sun Tiki Studios is open for safe distance rehearsals. Learn more and book time at suntikistudios.com.
Nice.
Keeping up with the Campari month here on Happy Hour, brought to you by Maine Spirits. We bought a bottle of Campari, so we're going to figure out a bunch of drinks to make with it. Today is no exception. Today we are going to learn how to make the Milano Torino. Let's get our tools together. We're going to need a bar spoon, a jigger, a paring knife, and a rocks glass. For ingredients, Campari and Vermouth de Torino. Let's build this thing. In a rocks glass, add 1 ounce of Campari and 1 ounce of Vermouth de Torino. Add ice and stir briefly, and then garnish with an orange slice. So it's kind of like the Americano, except we're using a more specific type of vermouth, and we're not doing the soda water. So this is going to lean on the sweeter side. And there's really kind of no way to rectify that because of the vermouth. I suppose you could put a little less vermouth in and then a little more Campari. So if you wanted it more on the tart side, maybe do 1.5 ounces Campari and 0.5 ounces of the vermouth. But ultimately, I would try it the way the recipe says and just see what you think from there and make adjustments moving forward. Kind of like cooking. It's exactly like cooking. It's cooking without a stove. Although sometimes when you make drinks, you do need a stove. Sometimes. You can find out more about this drink and many other drinks at mainspirits.com. You can download their app for your smartphone, which is a seemingly bottomless pool of information, where to get it, what to get, how to use it once you've got it. All kinds of drinks to be made and found out about on the app. You can also follow them on Instagram. And as always, we encourage you to drink deliciously and responsibly. Well, a special treat, maybe more for us than for you listening. But we got a chance to hear the new McCartney record, and we're going to do a review of it. And in doing so, we have our friend Patrick Doyle, who has been on the show before. Before you were here, Zach, right?
Yes, that was before my time.
Right. And we recorded an episode. Well, hi, Patrick.
Hey, Spencer. Hey, Zach.
Hi.
So
Thanks for
the
having
three
me.
of us. Oh, yeah. Thanks for making the time. You are a very busy person in that you, I don't know, write cover stories for Rolling Stone. So thanks for taking the time for this.
No, this is great. I love this.
Well,
I love listening to
having
this. This is one of my favorite things to just put on and go for a walk during, you need to do stuff during lockdown, and I put this on and go for long walks.
Awesome. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very long walks.
We're a little long-winded.
Up to 2 hour long walk.
Yep. But yeah, so we've all known Zach and I have known each other a long time, but you've probably we've all been friends for like, I don't know what, 20 years?
Yeah,
That's
so.
crazy.
Something like that.
It
Isn't
is.
that wild?
That is wild.
It's just shy of 20 years anyway. Yeah, probably all started to know each other around 2002-ish, if I think maybe.
Yeah, I think I saw you guys play at One City Center outside for the first time. And,
No word.
And you did, I think you were actually, I don't know why I remember this, but Spencer, you were wearing a Wings shirt that day?
Entirely possible.
Yeah.
That's all right.
And you guys played
and
Bad
many other
Finger
days.
song.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I actually think back to that show because we did some of our own tunes, but we were also such a new band that we didn't have a lot of material. So we worked up this thing where we did like a request, if I remember this correctly, but we ended up playing like covers by request.
Yeah, because we played some songs that we had never played before, and I don't think ever played again. Like we covered
And probably
Sweet
shouldn't have
Emotion.
played then.
Yeah, that's probably true.
The least of which, yeah, I think No Matter What was one that that's the Badfinger song I think you're thinking of, Patrick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was I loved it. You played Pinball Wizard.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's one of those things where perhaps memory is being kinder to the event.
I'm sure.
I don't know. I'll just say this. Now when I play No Matter What, like just by myself here, I know that I know the chords, and I also know that I did not play it right then. But yeah. So but all those years ago, I mean, you're a musician yourself. Do you still play?
Yeah, I've been playing more now, and here since I'm back in Maine as well, and have the old Taylor acoustic guitar and experiment with that and kind of come up with ideas, but I'm not prolific like you are. I don't finish them is my problem.
Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, you've always been musical, and I mean, you have another career, so it's like
right.
That's okay.
Right.
But we all, I think the three of us, it's safe to say that we all have a shared love of the Beatles. And is it, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, Doyle, but like maybe especially McCartney?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about that, Zach?
Yeah, historically that's true. I think modern day, I have my allegiance goes, is split evenly. I think among all four, I find something that I can love from what they all bring to the table. But definitely, when I was first diving into the Beatles and then post Beatles getting into solo work, McCartney was always the most accessible to go to first.
Yes, and he also has the advantage of being very prolific and also still making music.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm not like a Paul over John kind of guy, but I just think for whatever reason, I just relate more to the McCartney post Beatles catalog in general. Maybe just because there's more of it. I don't know. I love them all, but I really love Paul. As the kids say, he's the GOAT.
That's right. I hear kids saying that all the time.
Yes. When I'm on TikTok, trying to figure out how to use it. When TikTok started, I started an account and then I put it down. It walked away from it completely, and then recently, obviously, TikTok has like exploded. I was like, oh, I think I started one of those, and I went back. I'm like, why would I be on TikTok? Like, I can't move my body at all.
I mean,
so you have one.
I've had a Twitter account for 12 years or more, and I still don't even know how to use that. So
yeah,
TikTok is not probably going to happen for me.
I'm starting to fuck around on Twitter a bit more. I too have had an account for a while, which languishes from time to time. But like lately, I've been trying to I kind of realize it's one of those things. Like if you're not in the conversation, then then you're not in the conversation. You can't just pop in every 5 years and expect everyone to jump up and down just because you said something. But yeah, TikTok, Patrick, I do have an account that I've done absolutely nothing with, and I don't know. What I'm most excited about right now is that
debut though. For
what's that?
TikTok? Instead of working up a dance routine for your TikTok debut though.
Yeah, I know.
All these years you've been polishing up that same routine.
Yeah, there's things I know about myself. It's not like I don't believe myself, not being hard on myself or whatever. It's like, I can't rap. I suck at it. And I moving my body to music is just not a thing that I can do. But that's okay. I can do other things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know?
looking you up, and you have an account, but it's nothing. No,
Nothing.
no, no
Nothing.
followers and no content.
Nothing.
Nothing.
It's just I'm just holding space in the TikTok verse.
And I like your profile picture though. You're an astronaut.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I just recently put that. That was my big move, is I put my my podcast headshot up.
I'm surprised that didn't earn you any followers just changing out that photo.
I'm not sure I'm going to have to bring what I'm going to have to bring to TikTok, but we'll see. Maybe who knows?
I know. Well, if I ever create an account, I'll follow you. You'll have at least that going on.
Yeah, great. We can extend our echo chamber.
That's right. We can echo across the entire internet
Just
eventually.
back and forth to each other. I agree. Me too. Patrick, do you have a TikTok account?
No, I don't. My cousin does though. His name is a lot of people have his name, so I'm trying to look it up. But he's a guitar player. He's like 19, and he has a lot of followers. He posts covers and John Mayer song.
Yeah, he wrote me on Instagram.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he's really real ambitious and writing a lot of songs and great. He's big Eddie Van Halen fan and like can play Eruption and all this stuff like really awesome. Well.
Yeah, he had some advice, questions,
Uh-huh.
And I don't even remember what I said to him. Like basically just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Just keep doing it.
But he's always posting stuff. Like he's going down. I see him down in Gray at the lake. Like when I, just run into him and he's posting he's filming TikToks.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll do it. If I can find a way to fit TikTok into my life in a way that's like not like, I don't know, like like those comedy skits where like they make fun of like the drug, say no to drug things.
Yes.
The videos, and they have like an adult like their hat like twisted to the side, like I'm just a kid, say no to drugs.
Yeah.
As long as I could, if it makes sense for me to be on TikTok, I would do it. But like as of right now, what I'm seeing out of TikTok, it's like that's I'll just go over here. I'll just play some keyboards over here. That's fine.
Make albums.
Yeah, I have been looking at Twitch though.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that actually might be a useful platform at some point, because you can like do some streaming events and like all the streaming technology that's been put they've developed there to stream video games. Like you actually probably could stream musical events. So I am looking at that.
I've seen a lot of live streams for that, and then like AOC like plays video games on there.
Really?
Rock and roll.
She posts, she's like, I'm playing this game right now, and then you log on and she's playing it and interacting with people. It's pretty cool.
Yep. She's like, yes, I love this game. Green New Deal.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like it's
brilliant.
Yeah. So yes, we are gathered here today to discuss the new McCartney album, which is coming out this week, called McCartney 3. And maybe I'll just kick it off by saying I think this is his best record since Chaos and Creation in the Backyard.
Mm-hmm.
That was the going further with the echo chamber. That was exactly my thoughts after my first listen. Was this is his best record since Chaos and Creation.
I think so too. I did love Memory Almost Full as well. Do you remember that one? That one was from 2008.
Yeah, that has Ever Present Past on it, right?
Yeah.
Dance Tonight, and that actually had a handful of good songs on it.
It did,
but I think after Chaos and Creation, it felt like
right.
Yeah, because there were some not so good songs on it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Something about tea or something, or
no, that's tea. Actually on Chaos and Creation.
Yeah,
that's the one dark spot on that record.
Yeah. But I'll give him this. Like I mean, Zach, you know my feelings about English tea. Patrick, you can probably assume them, but he did lean into it. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Well, I remember listening to Memory Almost Full, and I think initially, because they're like the songs on it that are good are very good. And so I was really excited about it. And I remember there's that song "Sea or Sunshine" where he says, "Look what you've done to me, baby." So I remember you were so turned off by that.
Yeah.
I just don't want to hear McCartney say "baby" like that. Like, look, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is an aspect of it, and well, let me ask you this, Patrick. Like, have you actually connected with McCartney about this album?
You're talking about McCartney 3?
Yes.
Well, we just did a cover story that was McCartney with Taylor Swift,
Yes.
and I put that issue together, but they got to get, so I didn't personally connect with him, but edited the conversation and got really deep into this album, and listened to his unfiltered thoughts on it. So I kind of felt like I was connecting with him just from listening to him talk about it. And
yeah.
So this new one, it's cool because his last one was Egypt Station, which he did with a few other producers, like kind of pop producers, and a little bit more commercial, trying to it's interesting, like guys like him or U2 still make a play for that commercial sound, even though they don't need to anymore, like they don't. So he kind of goes between those two. He does one kind of for his fans and one for reaching for something else. And so I really like the fact that he said that he made this entire record himself in lockdown, playing all the instruments himself, drums and bass and keyboard, everything he did. He layered it all himself. And he said that the coolest part of it, he said that he was living with his daughter Mary and that family is her wife and kids, so it was like 4 kids or something, and he would go to the studio every day and then come back, and then they would say, "What did you do today?" And then he would play them some whatever he did that day. So it was like he was just doing it to impress them and himself, and he didn't even think he was making an album, really. He claims, and it kind of sounds like that, because there's some pretty weird stuff on this album that I don't know if he would have normally done.
Right. Yeah, and I'm glad you went there, because I did read that article, and that was like one of my favorite takeaways. Is it was just like, they'd finish work in the studio and be like making dinner or whatever, and they'd basically listen to the dailies and just have a dance around the kitchen.
Yeah.
And like, okay, like maybe this album doesn't stand like shoulder to shoulder with Band on the Run. Maybe. I don't know. Or maybe it does. I don't know. I've been listening to Band on the Run for 30 years. But it's got everything I need out of a McCartney album.
Yeah.
And I think some of my favorite moments of his is when he's not reaching for anything. He's not trying to, he doesn't need to like follow trends. He is a trend. Like if whatever comes out of his brain, I mean, and for a long time now, and maybe you could say like, okay, like maybe his creative sway like waned through the 80s, but then he did get it back. He had a really nice second wave there. But that's what I love about this album. Is just like you can hear that it's just him pleasing just himself.
Yes.
Right. And if I have one, it's not a gripe, but it's just like on the tails of McCartney 2, which is one of my favorite McCartney albums. I was hoping the album would be like maybe even a little more weird.
Right.
But also like I realized that what I was doing was, because it was called McCartney 2, I was expecting it to, you know what I mean? I went in with my own like preconceived notions of what I thought maybe it would be or should be, or, and that's a mistake right there. Cause obviously like it's McCartney 2 is 40 years ago. So he's a little bit has happened in between now and then.
Yeah, and McCartney 2 is quite different from McCartney 1.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think this is definitely a worthy successor to McCartney 1 and 2, mostly because of that uninhibited, just I'm going to make music for myself thing, where even at its worst, it's interesting. It's not like, Egypt Station, there are moments that are bad. I don't want to listen to this bad. Whereas this, it's like, okay, this isn't my favorite, but there's enough like outside of the box weird stuff going on that I'm into it and I'm going to keep listening. It's holding my attention. And I think that's true for both the other McCartney records as well. Where even when it doesn't shine as brightly as other moments, it still demands your attention.
The song that reminded me the most of I guess what you do, Spencer. Which song do you think is most similar to the kind of music you make? I'm curious if it's the same. If we thought of the same song.
I guess, well, maybe not, because I didn't listen to it with a self comparison in mind. I would guess, though, look at my notes. I'm gonna say it's either Seize the Day or Find My Way.
Yeah, Seize the Day is the one I picked.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'm glad we're starting to delve into individual songs. Now, obviously, if you're listening to this when it drops, you haven't heard it yet. It's not out yet, but so maybe maybe pause, #spoilers, and then you can pick it back up, and to have this first part of the conversation between Zach and Patrick and I be a review of the record, like an overall just like letter grade. I mean, I'll just give it, I don't want to give it a letter grade. I'll say it's a pass. Like not pass like I don't like it, but passing grade. I think this is a really good record, and I'm feeling even more confident about it because on my first passes through it, I was like, I had songs I was like, nah, I don't like that. Like I'm just like, next. Like I even think like on my first pass, there's one tune I'm just like, skip. And then the second list, I was like, oh, why did I skip that? Because there's so much more to this song. It goes so many places. So in subsequent listens, I have less and less songs that I think I quote unquote don't like.
Yeah, I have to keep reminding myself that. So I think like of the latter era McCartney, I think Chaos and Creation is sort of like the gold standard.
Sure.
And I have to keep reminding myself that even that record, the first like listen through, like it didn't grab me right away for some reason.
That's right.
And I think it's
Same
mostly
here.
because that was the first time that his voice had changed. Like he sounded like an old man.
Yep.
and I think that maybe took me by surprise. But like, I love that record so much now that, if I put on something new of his or something since then, I want to give it 3 or 4 spins before I judge it, because I remember judging Chaos and Creation harshly, and I think that's among his better albums. So.
And that album gets a lot better towards the end of the record. Like At the Mercy, I didn't quite get songs like that off of Chaos and Creation at first. It was or Friends to Go, but then when Riding to Vanity Fair, the whole record kind of takes a turn there all the way through the. It's like all those songs are kind of linked together, I think.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that sort of like B-side medley thing going on.
Yeah,
I love Friends to Go.
Me too.
That might be my favorite song on the record. It's just because it's a song about him being like, ugh.
Yeah. There's a couple songs like that on the new record where he's kind of like taking shots at people a little bit.
Agreed.
Like the Pretty Boys one, he's like clearly kind of taking shots at photographers who are like, work it for me, he says baby again.
Okay. On that note, like I want to not to like oversteer the conversation, but let's get into the tune and kind of like take the album and kind of take it song by song.
Oh, sure.
Does that sound good?
It sounds great.
And we won't be taking a break for the Bull Moose Minute, because this whole thing is a Bull Moose Minute, because this album is going to be available at bullmoose.com. Hey, ready for this, Patrick? Live read.
Yeah. Great.
Maybe you can review my live read after.
Yeah.
This album and many other albums are available at bullmoose.com, or you can call them and do curbside pickup. You can shop in the stores still. COVID safety, limited amount of customers in the store. But however you're comfortable getting your music, Bull Moose has it for you. As I said at the top of this, maybe not going that great ad, McCartney 3 on all available mediums, but CD and vinyl certainly. And it'll be out on the 18th of December. It was originally supposed to be the 11th, but like even Paul McCartney has to push back albums because #COVID. So learn everything you need about how to buy this album and listen to it and agree or disagree with us at bullmoose.com. Boom.
Well done. Informative. I know exactly where to go to find this record. Bullmoose.com.
Patrick, thoughts? What do I need to work on?
It was great. I think you've even improved from last time.
My God, thank you. I'm really working on it. I really am.
It's pretty seamless.
I was hoping for critique, but I'll take the flattery. Like, don't get me wrong. All right, so the track opens with the tune that we were given kind of like a sneak peek of. That was like the little video that came out, the little teaser trailer, whatever you want to call it.
I did not watch, actually. So
why?
I just kind of wanted to save it here in context.
You didn't want to just like listen to it and scheme and wonder and beard stroke about like what's the album going to be, make assumptions like.
No, because I've done that before and been disappointed.
Gotcha. Okay, fair. So Long-Tailed Winter Bird. It kind of reminds me of now we're going like, attention listener, we're going to go on a deep McCartney dive. So if you're a pedestrian like McCartney fan, you might hear a bunch of things you've never heard of. But if you're a McCartney nerd, like the three of us are, put on your seatbelts, put on your helmet, put on your mouth guard. It's going to get nerdy in here. Long-Tailed Winterbird has vibes of Check My Machine, which was an outtake from McCartney 2.
Wow. Going very deep right out of the gate.
Yeah, sorry. But that's just like, that's what I like about it, because Check My Machine, he was playing with like samples and like scratching records and stuff. Mm-hmm. And like using like samples from like cartoon shows. But then he just like the whole song has this kind of like monotonous, like looping vibe. Mm-hmm. And there's just like kind of this crazy insanity that kind of trickles in over the top of it. And I thought that this one kind of did that too. Like the only time we hear from him, he's in the form of a vocoder. Mm-hmm. And then they bring in these occasional like, little messy flute parts, which is really kind of cool.
It's like that weird like mellotron or like calliope mm-hmm. sounds that are almost mm-hmm. like being for the benefit of Mr. Kite-ish, or even the outro to the I Buried Paul part of Strawberry Fields.
Sure.
With that weird flute thing going on.
Yep.
But yeah, they're just like layered, in the background, but mm-hmm. they're very atmospheric.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Sound collage stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. And like, what a bold lead,
For sure.
And what I like about, like I said earlier, like this album has all I need from a Paul McCartney album, in that it's just like, I want to hear what he thinks. Like, I don't care what other producers think he should sound like. Every producer that steps to Paul McCartney is going to be like, oh, I'm going to make a Paul McCartney record. It's going to be the greatest Paul McCartney record. But Paul McCartney's just like, I'm making a record. Because I am Paul McCartney, whatever. And so like this is an example of a tune that like I feel like, yes, like just it goes here because that's where you felt like it'll go.
It also to me sort of sets the tone of it being a continuation of the McCartney trilogy, if you will, because it sounds very much like he picked up his guitar, came up with a lick, and then just built a track around that lick rather than like composing a song.
Agreed.
And there's a lot of moments on the first McCartney record that sound like that to me, where it's like,
and the second one.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, I've got an idea, I've got a lick, and I'm going to build this atmosphere around it, but it's not really like a composition.
Yeah, not in the traditional sense of like Irving Berlin or even McCartney himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is a way of composing, and I think it yields pretty sweet results.
Agreed.
Did you have any thoughts on that first track, Patrick?
Yeah, it's cool. It's not. It was honestly kind of took me by surprise, and I didn't love it at first, but then when it lands on the next song, I really appreciated it a lot more. Like it's I can see what it's leading up to, and I think it's a really bold way to start the record, and I like. It's interesting what he's doing on the acoustic guitar stuff that he's playing.
It simultaneously heightens and lowers expectations.
Yeah, it's interesting. Was thinking, did Flaming Pie have a producer?
Yeah, well, Jeff Lynne on a lot of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which I don't know, more on that.
Yeah,
because I have some Jeff Lynne thoughts on this album.
Yeah.
But he produced, I want to say, like 5 of the tunes on Flaming Pie.
Mhm.
And I think Paul did the rest. There's some George Martin in there. I think Jeff Emmerich recorded it. So
Wow, it's like all stars.
yeah, that's an album, not to like break too hard and go down too much of a rabbit hole, but
Yeah,
when they reissued that, it's way better than I remembered it being.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I listened, re-listening to the reissue, I was like, oh, this is like way higher on the chart than I'd kind of originally given it credit for. You know?
yeah. Because some of this record has the organic sound of it reminded me of Flaming Pie a little bit.
Agreed. Yeah, I feel that way too. The next tune, "Find Your Way," is like more like drum loopy. There's synth bass, but there's that harpsichord sample, and man, like when that kicked on, I'm like, now we're fucking around in the studio. Let's go.
Yeah, it's great. It's got that like super lo-fi drum thing going on, and then like the lo-fi hi-hat overdub.
Yep.
At one point, but then the acoustic guitars and the harpsichord and the melody on the B section is like, that was the moment I was like, yes, a Paul McCartney record. I love this.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean the guitar work in general on this album is awesome. Yeah, he just like hasn't like lost that at all. I mean, is he really underrated at anything? No, probably not. But like, I think he is kind of underrated as a guitar player. He's
Well, I think he's appreciated so much as a bass player that people forget that because he also revolutionized electric bass in a lot of ways. That people forget that he also slays on guitar.
Yeah, so when you get into Pretty Boy, Patrick, also just like jump in if you have thoughts. If I move on too quickly.
No, I mean, the only thing I was thinking of was that from reading the interviews about how he made this record, and he made it sound kind of casual and sort of played it down. He said he started playing piano because of his dad had him in the house, and just sort of casually learned each instrument. So then but he said, it's really only 2 or 3 instruments, because the guitar and bass and ukulele, it all kind of, he thought of that all kind of the same, but he was sort of playing it down. But then when you hear what he just seems like such a normal person, but then when you hear what he's capable of, it's more surprising, because some of the choices that he made on this record prove that, I mean, a lot of people his age don't want to do it anymore. Like Dylan makes one every 10 years or so, but McCartney, the fact that he chose this break when he could be doing literally anything he wants to, if he doesn't have to be on tour,
He could be like Kim Kardashian and rent an island for himself.
Yeah. Yes. So I don't know. It's just really cool that he's still enthusiastic to this level.
Yeah. I mean, I think history has proven that this is what he is. He is, he's a star because he is a musician. He's not a musician so that he can be a star.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the fame comes with the admiration of the talent, and the talent is real. And it's like, it's not even like, yes, we've mentioned earlier, like sometimes he's chasing trends and like maybe on Egypt Station trying to like relate, or even on New, like
right, trying
to be like modern, or like doing like 4 or 5 seconds with Kanye and Rihanna, like, okay, whatever, but like this proves it. He could go Kardashian and rent himself an island. He could go Paul McCartney and buy himself one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he didn't. He just hung out with his kids and his grandkids and made food and made a record, because that's what he does. And that's who he is, and that's what he is. So yeah. Pretty Boy, as you'd mentioned earlier, Zach, I think my takeaway was not so much like taking a dig at the Pretty Boys, as to me it's like, oh wow, like, can you imagine like being Paul McCartney and being self-conscious?
Yeah, well, I hear it more as a dig at the photographers.
Interesting.
The the guys are just like, work it for me. You know, I think that's a line he actually uses in the song is work it for me.
The camera loves you. Yeah.
The camera loves you. Like, yeah, you're an object of desire. Like,
my
yeah.
takeaway from it was more like, because, he's got this like, wife, newish. And maybe I thought it's like, I don't know, you can have those moments of self-consciousness in your relationship, no matter how established they are. Just like you wonder if like maybe, are you enough, or like there's a shiny thing around the corner, like, oh, am I gonna get ditched over here? Or you can, and that was my takeaway. That might not be right, but I heard it more of like yeah, they're pretty. They're pretty. Don't touch them though. They're just like rental bikes.
Yeah.
I'm the real deal.
What was the song off? Was it? He had a song on the last album that was sort of about the Beatles, about him and John.
Yeah.
What was that called?
I'd have to go into the intertubes, which I will do.
Well, this sort of reminded me of that song a little bit. So I was thinking that the Pretty Boys originally were him talking about the Beatles, but then upon further listening, it's not. Or I was thinking about the whole, all these bands in London in the 60s.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I guess I was hearing it as like him and the Beatles being the Pretty Boys, or people of that stature or nature, and it's sort of the photographers, the guy, they're like, this guy is or this person, whatever, is just trying to get the performance out of them for the photos. I don't know.
But that's kind of an example of how he can write a song about anything. That's what I love about him and the Beatles. They could write about the stupidest stuff, and it would be so good. And not all songs have to be about love or getting broken up with.
No. Yeah. Moving on to Women and Men.
I want to add just one thing, I guess, about Pretty Boys. For some reason, this is Pretty Boys is probably the song on the album that grabs me the least, and I can't really figure out what it is about it yet. But
yeah,
I don't know, something. Even though we just spent all this time dissecting the lyrics, I think it's something about the lyrics not fully coming together for me. But yeah, I don't know. That's definitely the one that I found myself having the hardest time latching onto.
Fascinating, Zach. Anyway, moving on to Women and Men.
Actually, now I just want to linger on that song more.
The piano, Women and Men's kind of like a piano-driven.
Women and Wives, Spencer.
My bad. My bad. Oh, I'll take my talking to. Like I served up some hot spaghetti there in the. I can take it.
Sorry, go on.
So yeah, Women and Men. Chasing the Morrow makes two things that McCartney does that kind of makes me a little uncomfortable is when he's like hyper British and when he's like, and I don't mean to, like, he is British, like, go ahead, do your thing, but I'm just like, oh, chasing the morrow, oh, like, I don't know, it just makes me like a little like, I don't know. And then also like, and we can probably get to this like a little later and touched on it earlier, but like when he's all like sexy baby, it's just like, oh, you're 80. And I don't want to say the 80-year-olds like don't want to get their freak on, but like, I don't know. It's just, but I'm also like mainly not looking for that in general, let alone out of him. And it does seem like a very common theme throughout his more recent works. There's a lot of like on Egypt Station, like Fa You.
Oh boy.
And it's like, yeah. Like I didn't expect the new McCartney album to take me on a journey of thinking about and considering geriatric sexuality, but it did. Yeah, Chasing the Morrow makes me a little bit uncomfortable.
One thing I do like a lot about that song is he sort of sings with like a different affectation on his voice.
Sure.
Which I find is something that he used to do a lot in the Beatles. Like he had like 3 distinct voices that he would sing with. He had like his pretty boy voice. Mm-hmm. He had his Little Richard voice.
Yep.
And like that sort of like deep Lady Madonna voice.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
And of course, in the 70s, I feel like he figured out a way to like blend all of those together on songs like "Call Me Back Again" and stuff. But I like he's now got the deep voice thing going on, but with his old man voice, and it's something that I'd never heard from him before. It's almost like he's playing a character, and I like it. I think it's cool.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
What say you, editor of Rolling Stone?
I'm getting into this one. I mean, I've heard this record a few times, but it's okay. This one's okay to me. It's not a standout. I like what Zach said about the voice, and I see that. And I was just reminded of McCartney's that early voice when he does stuff like "I'm Down," and I love that voice is so unique. I've never heard anybody sing like that before. I thought there was a different member of the band when I first got that anthology, when that was the first one, and heard him singing like that. And I wish he did that more.
Well, I mean, the Little Richard voice.
That's what it is, the Little Richard voice.
Yeah, he definitely modeled that after. That's the same. You can, if you listen to their version of "Long Tall Sally."
Yeah,
there it is. That's how, and he's said this as much. This is not an assumption on Zach's or my part. Like that's how he learned how to scream.
Yeah,
and that's basically the same voice that's on Helter Skelter. Took it to a different arena at a new level, but like, yeah, that's that McCartney scream. His vocal range is ridiculous, and probably one of the reasons he doesn't do it anymore is because that's a young person's game.
Yeah,
it's like why can't Robert Plant do that anymore? It's like, well, because he can't. Athletes lose their fastball, and it's not a sustainable way to be able to sing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he still does that stuff live, though. He still does like Helter Skelter live.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is
he does.
But I'm curious how much he screams. I need to watch a video to see how much he does that these days.
It's not like, vocally speaking, I think he's lost his fastball a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like that's okay. Like I don't hold him I don't have any expectation to be able to do that for the rest of his life, But he's also like on this record, he's leaning into what his voice can do, and that's great,
Yeah, there's still a baseball analogy for that,
which is what.
So a pitcher who once depended on their fastball, like if they threw 95 or 96 when they were younger. Mm-hmm. If they're a smart pitcher, when they lose their fastball, they start using more finesse. They become a finesse pitcher. That's when you start throwing more breaking balls and change-ups and catching the batters off balance, as opposed to just trying to blow them away with your heat. And I think that is what Paul's doing with his voice now. He's like, okay, I can't scream, super high anymore, but I've got this weird old man voice that I can explore different avenues of.
Exactly. Speaking of breaking balls, Lavatory Lil.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Oh, you mean Bathroom Barb?
Yeah, Bathroom. That's what I wrote down. I mean, full disclosure, I wrote down Bathroom Betty, but yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah. That's so funny. I couldn't help but wonder if this was maybe like him trashing on his ex-wife a little. I don't know.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, wow. So what are some of the lines in this? It's hard to hear some of the lyrics.
Like basically say, just watch out for Lavatory Lil.
Yeah.
I can't. I
think it's, mostly just things like she acts like she's doing this, but she's really doing this. Like,
right. Yeah. She's stab you in the back, basically.
It actually reminds me of that song. I'm taking it out of the McCartney into a McCartney sort of copycat. But Billy Joel has a song called Stiletto. It's on, I can't remember, one of those, maybe 52nd Street, but it's basically the same thing. Like, you can't tell when she's stabbing you in the back because she puts on a good, a good front.
I thought this song actually kind of reminded me of, I'm going to go deep again. It's an outtake from Tug of War called Watch Out, You Don't Know Where She Came From.
Oh, I don't even think I know that one.
Oh man. It's really good. And I unconfirmed theory, but I would put money on it because you know how Carl Perkins is on that record? The song Get It?
I love that song.
Yeah. Have you heard that, Patrick?
No.
So that's the 1982 McCartney album. It's a really, really solid effort. Like, just it's a great Paul McCartney record.
What's the name of the album?
Oh, Tug of War.
Oh, on Tug of War. Yeah.
So the later in the album, there's a duet he does with Carl Perkins, who's one of his heroes.
Yeah.
And I suspect that because the song "Get It" is very slight. It's not like an amazing composition or anything. It's not bad, but it's not like holy crap good. It's just two super talented dudes singing together on like a little easy kind of country. Gotta get it. Gotta get it just in case it doesn't come around again. You gotta get it. It's cool.
It almost sounds like something that would be on a Traveling Wilburys record. Like all this
Sure.
amazing talent just doing something fun and simple.
Exactly. That's the vibe I get. I think that possibly he pitched "Watch Out, You Don't Know Where She Came From" to him, because that song's like a total like 50s rocker. You gotta watch out, you don't know where she came from. It's basically saying like I don't know. It's kind of rude, but like it's also kind of rocks. It's like watch out for her. And I could see like because that point Carl Perkins is in his 70s being like, I don't want to sing about that. I'm an old man. But it has like those really cool like backing vocal like calls, like almost like punk rock style. Watch out for love. Watch out for love. The only thing he doesn't say is oi, oi.
Another example of using a different like affectation on his voice though in the backing vocals, so it sounds like a gang of other people.
It does.
Even though you also know it's all him, but yeah, it's got enough tonal variation going on there.
Mm-hmm. It also just has like this is another example of just him being like just playing the shit out of his guitar.
Yeah, it's great groove, great
I love
guitar
that
mix.
groove.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And I love the way it descends down further and further, and you can't think he can't keep going.
Almost as if it's being flushed down.
Right.
Laboratory.
That's true. Mm-hmm. I just imagining. I'd love to hear like a bass player just play that. Mm-hmm. That descending part at the end of each verse.
Yes.
Before it goes into the riff.
Yep.
It's just so creative. Like it's cool.
I love that he just kind of I don't know. Just it sounds like kind of like a toss-off song, but it just rocks for the sake of rocking.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I love it.
I love this one too.
Yeah.
It's one that when I first heard it, I think the title and just the hook turned me off for a second. I guess just because he's it's a bathroom barb. Yeah. But then there's just so many tasty little hooks and stuff in it, and it's kind of fun to just hear him taking a dig at somebody too.
Yes, yeah. Basically, here's a person, you're acting like this, and I'm receiving you like this, but when in reality, I could have got your name from the wall of a bathroom.
Yeah.
Rude. Deep feelings.
Oh, you skipped sliding.
My bad.
I thought sliding was number 7 and Deep Feeling was number 6.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking.
That's what I have as well.
The Beatles Bible is lying to me. I've got it open. Yeah. Sorry.
No.
No worries. Yeah. So Deep Feelings reminds me. My first listen to it, I was like, oh, this is Paul's version of When Doves Cry. Because it's like, I mean, he's speaking very earnestly about like, when you like fall in love with somebody and how that feels, those deep feelings. And I also like that he's not like, I mean, he's one of the greatest wordsmiths, ever. But here he is just saying like, nope, this song is about deep feelings. And it's called Deep Feelings. But I do love like that there's kind of like that really sparse arrangement, very patient arrangement. The first time I listened to it, I was like, nope.
Really?
Yeah. It's just for whatever reason, I was like, nope. And I listened for a bit, and then I was like, I want to get on to the next one and see what we got next. And then when I came back, I was like, oh, shit, I really should have let this one play out because it goes places.
That's the thing. It's like 8.5 minutes long. And every time you start to feel bored or something, he introduces a new element or goes a new place with it.
Yep.
Actually, my favorite part of the song is the last minute where it's like He'd start strumming on an acoustic guitar.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I like this.
Yeah, I don't know what it was that caught me off guard the on the first listen, but it just
this one stood out as my favorite. I played this one more than any of the others, but it's because of where it goes towards the last half of the song.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I remember you mentioning that when you said you first heard it. So that was like one that I was like looking forward to, and then you know what I mean. And then when I listened down, I was like, oh, did I miss the one? What was the one Patrick was talking about? Like, and then I went back like, oh, that one. Like, slow your roll. Like, be a little more patient with each tune. I don't know who the hell I think I was. Like, nah, skip. You know, whatever.
Well, yeah, but so McCartney said that he was playing with a lot of tape loops on this song. What does that mean?
Tape loops are, so you've heard the term drum loop, right?
Yes.
Here's the best way I can explain it. The song Africa by Toto.
Uh-huh.
It starts off with that boom, ba-doom, right?
Yeah.
So that was recorded. Dave Leonard, the engineer, and Jeff Porcaro, like after the band left, they were in the studio by themselves, and he just recorded Jeff playing like that, basically like that groove ish somewhere in there for a while, you know. And they went back and listened to it, and they found like the best 2 bars of that. And right. And then they actually cut the tape, shoop, and like loop it and tape it one end onto the other end. You know, both on like the downbeat of the boom, and then right before the downbeat of the next, you know, the bar 2 beat 1, boom. They cut it there. You loop the tape together. You tape it together, so it's now just a tape loop. That's the drum loop, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. And then because it's like a little bit longer than it would be on let's say like the reel, like would capture, like you have your feed reel and your take up reel on a tape machine, so you have to kind of like maintain that tension between the two. So like with a tape loop, because it's just bigger, it's just like one circle of tape. That's the other thing too about like a recording on a reel to reel tape machine. It's not a circle of tape, it's a line of tape wound up on 2 wheels.
Mm-hmm.
So you put the drum loop, tape loop around a wheel as a motor, so it'll spin it, and then, you know, through the playback head. But then you put like a mic stand or something like out in the room, however long the loop actually is, and just kind of give it a little tension and kind of like let that play. Wow. So it doesn't have to be a drum loop, but like a tape loop. You know, a lot of the stuff on like Tomorrow Never Knows, like all those like turn up your mind, relax, put down, all those like weird sounds. Those are all tape loops that they would like just have playing on tape machines that were routed into the desk, and they bring them up on faders and stuff like that. Just to kind of
I'm Not in Love, 10cc.
Yes.
All of those backing vocals, or they layered them all onto tape loops and then just used the faders to bring them up and bring them down.
Yes.
I think they had like 12 loops or something with like 30 something voices on each loop.
That's right.
That's pretty
Isn't that amazing?
That's crazy.
You know that tune that he's talking about?
Yeah.
Doyle?
Yeah. Yes.
So like that mix of that tune, because like you have like a kick drum, right? Like a little rhythm. You have the Rhodes and then the lead vocal. And then the 3 of them, as Zach said, everything he said, like all those voices, like, so like, you know, they'd record 30 times or you know, 30 voices singing C, going like, that's not a C. That's a C. And
our listeners with perfect pitch will not
you know,
it's actually like Spinal Tap when they're doing the harmonizing.
Since smart baby left me. But yeah, so the, you know, the tape loop, like it's all of them, as Zach said, 12. So it's like, you know, 12 notes in the chromatic scale, right? And the band sitting on faders playing the recording console like a keyboard, basically. Like when the chords change, they just would. So the mix that you hear of "I'm Not in Love" is actually a band performance, because all 4 of the people in 10cc were engineers.
Mm-hmm.
And
the thing that's cool about that is that there's no, like, even when the faders are all the way down, it's not like the sound disappears. Like you can still hear the loop going. It's just quieter. And so at all times, every note in the scale is playing. It's just, you know, they would raise the ones that were appropriate for the chords as they passed. But there's just like kind of just drone of notes happening.
Yes, it's like ethereal underlying, like almost like what Kubrick did at the top of 2001, just like the like it's like it's all notes playing. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So, did that answer your question, Patrick?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Do we have any other notes on deep feelings?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So sliding,
which now because Beatles Bible, which I have open in front of me, lied to me about the order of the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if it's lying to me about this aspect of it as well, which is that this song supposedly, again, I don't know, it's on the internet.
Must be true.
Rusty Anderson and Abel Boreal Jr., according to the Beatles Bible, both appear on Slidin'.
Huh.
I guess we'll know more once we get the actual album in front of us.
The liner notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that could be true. It would stand to reason, but also it could have also just been Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Both are possible, but this song rocks. Period. I don't know why. When I was going on my daily, I like to take a walk every day, get my steps in, and I was walking and listening to this, and for some reason, when this tune came on, in my brain I pictured Dave Grohl listening to it for some reason and being like, going like, "This motherfucker, listen to this motherfucker," because it's like he's, I don't know, still got it, can still rock out hard.
It definitely it brought a Queens of the Stone Age vibe to me too, just from the heavy layers of guitars.
Yeah, and kind of like using some modern like it sounds like you might have like a polyoctave generator involved or some, I don't know, something. There's some crazy tones on there. And the way they kind of circumvented, can he scream like Helter Skelter now? No, but they found a way to make his voice really aggressive in a great way. Yeah, this one's an album highlight for me. This or at least it's one that on the first listen I was like, yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a fantastic song. You can hear him really having fun on this one.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The fun is real. The Kiss of Venus is kind of I don't know, we've heard a few tunes, it's like in the Blackbird, Jenny Wren, Here Today tradition of Paul McCartney playing and acoustic guitar and singing a song to us.
Yeah, I feel like this is to this album as One of These Days is to McCartney too. Which there's all this weirdness going on, and then there's just here's a nice McCartney composition, him singing pretty and playing acoustic guitar, all of the things that he's kind of known for, along with all of the other things we've talked about.
Yep.
Yeah, and he said he heard this from he read this that phrase in a book about constellations. He got really into reading about astrology or whatever during the lockdown and started getting deeper into it, and then that's where he found this phrase.
He had a deep feeling about astrology.
Yeah.
So well, no, he said that
he said something. He was talking about the math of the universe, and that there was a mathematician that talked about if you map out the geometrics of the universe, it forms this certain shape. This he sounded really stoned when he was saying it, but anyway, it was a pretty crazy idea that he decided to go with for the song.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'll listen to Paul McCartney, basically be Paul McCartney with an acoustic guitar all day, every day. It's great. 5 stars will be back. But man, that harpsichord drop, like all of a sudden it turns into a Wes Anderson movie. It's so good, man. I love that part. I actually again on my walkabout, I think I made one of those verbal exclamations that would make other people that might have been also out walking in the cemetery think that I'm a crazy person. Something like, "Oh yeah, You know.
So I've only listened to this with headphones on so far,
Mhm.
and all of the harpsichord on this record it's very stereo. Every time the harpsichord
Oh
comes
yeah,
in, there's a lot of left-right separation going on, and it's just instant fullness. It's very
yes,
satisfying.
very satisfying. And I also think, I mean, again, I'm guessing, and sampling is so crazy these days. But if I had to guess, real harpsichord.
Hmm. Yeah, that would stand to reason.
Yeah, you would wonder if it's like the same harpsichord that he used on like the what's that Winter's something song at the end of Back to the Egg.
I know
It's
what
like
you're
an
talking about. It's also
yeah
escaping me.
yeah. It's hold on, I find it.
If only I had the internet in front of me.
Yeah, if only. It's like the B side of Back to the Egg, which if you're not a huge nerd like we are, was the last Wings album by name.
Winter Rose
Winter Rose. Yeah,
/ Love Awake.
yeah. Just a little medley. Then slash After the Ball.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know why I brought that up. Mainly because it just has harpsichord on it.
And it might be the same one.
I like to envision like Paul McCartney's studio having every toy that I would ever wish for.
Mhm.
You know, like does he have like a clavinet and a Rhodes and a Wurlitzer and a piano and a bunch of good guitars and a mellotron, like an actual one, and a harpsichord, like all these things that I would build if I had like my wish list.
There's a
Let's say,
few.
okay, let's say I was in the Beatles. Let's say I was a billionaire. What would my studio look like?
There's a few like TV special type stuff things that he's done that you can find on YouTube.
Mhm,
One in particular that comes to mind is around the time Flaming Pie came out, where he's basically just doing that, like walking around the studio and showing off, like, look at this, I've got
mhm,
Bill Black's bass, I've got here's
mhm,
the mellotron I used on Strawberry Fields.
mhm.
So you can find a sneak peek of at least what his home studio looks like in 1994.
Yeah, I'll check that out. That bass that you just mentioned, his Linda gave to him for his birthday,
Mhm.
and it was actually right before he was on the ninth. I forget. I don't know the issue number. I'm not like I'm a nerd, but I'm not that far down. But he in the in '89, surrounding around Flaming, not Flaming Pie, Flowers in the Dirt. He was on the cover of Rolling Stone with it.
Mhm.
I think that was like right around when she had given it to him or something.
Is this the stand up bass Bill Black
Yeah,
played? Oh wow,
that's
yeah.
right. Yeah, it's like the one that's on Hound Dog.
Wow.
If I've done my reading correctly.
I think you have done your reading correctly.
Thank you, Zach. So yeah, seize the day. My note on this was just that I feel like obviously Jeff Lynne was heavily influenced by the Beatles and especially McCartney, like
Mhm.
just in the way he writes and like the steadiness of his recordings. Like I feel like he kind of took that like Paul. My friend James McAdams said something to me once when high school was when Off the Ground came out, and I just got it. We put it on. He's like, there's just something about McCartney. Like all of McCartney's songs are just so steady. It's like, yeah, they really are. Like he doesn't let you down in the rhythm department, you know. And Jeff Lynne, I feel like has that takeaway as well, like effectively like creating like a disco pop band.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But there's parts on this that I feel like the pupil becomes a teacher, right? I feel like McCartney is like doing the Jeff Lynne thing with all the guitar harmonies and stuff. And not that he hasn't done that before, but it's just like to me, it was like in a way that like Jeff Lynne would do it rather than like maybe what you would hear on some of the Wings stuff.
Yeah.
I love the twin guitar thing that he's doing here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Mm-hmm.
is he's playing in multiple octaves, or is what is the creating that effect when that chorus comes in and it's such a dramatic.
Well, it's like it's overdubbing. Like what if I had to guess? Like I wasn't in the room, but if I were to like try to achieve that sound, I would open up 4 tracks. I would record 2 tracks of a guitar doing one note, and the lower part of the harmony, and then 2 tracks of guitars doing the harmony, a third above or whatever the harmony track is. And then pan those left and hard, one each, like one low in the left ear, one high in the left ear, one low in the right ear, one high in the right ear.
Mhm.
And that's kind of how you can. I'm not saying that's how they did it, but that is a way that you could do it. And that
Which
is like a very Jeff Lynne thing to do.
Yeah, like almost just taking the approach that you'd take to doing backing vocals, but doing it with the guitar instead.
Yeah.
I love that. It's and I feel like I've heard him do that before.
Mm-hmm. Yep, especially like on Flaming Pie. You know?
Yeah, exactly. That like, or it's almost like the Drive My Car riff kind of thing. They're doing it on that too. On the beginning, where it's sort of, is that two guitars playing that same riff at the same time?
I don't think so on that one.
Yeah, I don't think they would have had.
You know, Andy Bird can sing.
That's yeah.
But
that's just, I think, that's just two good guitar players playing a riff together.
Right.
That lasts for an entire song.
Well, apparently, so I heard Joe Walsh on the Beatles Sirius station one time, and he was talking about when he was a kid, and he heard "And Your Bird Can Sing," and he spent forever figuring out how to play that guitar line. And then he's like, cut to, the 80s. I'm in Ringo's All-Star Band, and I asked Ringo, he's like, how did George play that guitar part? It took me forever to figure out how to do that. And Ringo's just like, he played it on 2 tracks. Overdub. He didn't play it at the same time.
Oh, he was trying to play the harmony and everything.
Yeah. And he said
God.
he actually learned how to do it. It took him forever.
Did he probably figured it out too?
Yeah, he said he learned how to do it.
Oh my gosh. He's Joe Walsh is one of my favorite guitar players ever. He's so good.
Yeah.
Deep Down. I don't want to talk trash about the GOAT, but like whatever. I don't like this song.
Yeah, this is another one that just it didn't quite grab me. And actually, when you were I'm going to take it backwards for a second. When you were talking about Jeff Lynne influence on Paul, what I do like about Pretty Boys is the backing track, and that arpeggiated guitar part reminds me of the song they were singing. But
yeah.
So on that song, I think it's just something that the lyrics don't quite come together for me. But on Deep Down, there really aren't any lyrics other than "Want to Get Deep Down."
Yeah.
And also the groove is maybe a little too meandering. I mean, I do like the fact there's like some sort of like sub-octave bass thing happening going on.
Yeah, synth bass again.
But other than like the cleverness of the bass, matching the theme, it's definitely one that doesn't appeal to me quite as much as the others.
Yeah, there's a like a synth horn and drum breakdown that makes me feel like he had heard "Drop It Like It's Hot." And which is cool, but like, yeah, it's also like, I don't know. It just feels like, oh, Grandpa's on the dance floor. Here we go. It's like, come on, baby. We want to get deep down. Like, nah.
You want to do the grandpa?
I'm gonna go in on some. I'm gonna go in on some shrimp cocktail or something. I don't know. We'll catch you later.
I'm gonna stay surface level because Deep Down is not appealing to me right now.
No, we'll just stay there. But also, like, yeah, whatever. He can put whatever he wants on whatever record he wants.
When we did our McCartney podcast before, I think the conclusion that we came to is that Paul McCartney owes us nothing, and any additional good songs we get are a bonus.
That's right. Yeah. Did you have any? I mean,
yeah,
Patrick,
it's unmemorable
song on the record.
Yeah, it's not a very memorable one for me. It was pretty throwaway.
Yeah.
The part where I wish that he had left it off the record. I mean, I like this album no matter what, but I feel like, that the half star that I might deduct from it because of that song, just get rid of it, and then you get that full star.
Yeah, it gets to be a little bit of a mess. And because I think if you went from Seize the Day into When Winter Comes, it would have been a little stronger.
Sure.
I agree, and I like that he brought back. I mean, nice segue, by the way, Doyle.
Yeah.
Like bringing back the top theme, which is like a very Ram / Sgt. Pepper thing to do. But I love hearing him sing about like the farm stuff, like because he is a domestic critter, and like it's like heart of the country vibe. You know, he's just singing about things that you got to do. Got to fix the hole in the fence so the fox. You know, the chickens are scared by the foxes, and also we got to take care of that carrot bed because if they get too wet, they rot. And that's what the song's about.
I kind of love it when Paul McCartney does his like just singing about the barnyard thing.
Yeah, it's great.
Same thing with that Country Dreamer. Like I love it. He's just like, you know, kind of fantasizing what he wants to do with this person, but it's just I want to walk in a stream and lie in a field, like just basic enjoy nature things. Yeah.
I have such an affinity for the song Country Dreamer. Are you familiar with that one, Patrick?
No.
Okay, so nerd to nerd homework.
When is this one from?
So it's Red Rose Speedway.
Okay.
But it wasn't on the originally issued album. But recently when they reissued Red Rose Speedway, they reissued it as the double album that it was supposed to be. Not everyone. Usually most of them are the one disc. But you can get on vinyl, you can get the 2-disc one, which I have a copy of. And I think I got one for Zach. I love that version of the album. It's so great. But it's one of the like I knew it from like B-sides or bootlegs and stuff like that, you know, but it explained why there's so many outtakes from that era because they intended it to be a double record and they just all kind of got like reallocated to different spots or not at all until recently. But Country Dreamer is an awesome one that is everything that Zach pointed out. But my favorite part of the song is when he's I wanna climb up a hill with you. And admire the view. I love that he takes the pause there. It's so good. And admire the view. Like carrying like one word from the end of one phrase into the top of the other one. It's a sweet trick. And yeah, it just has that like earnest, like this song's about going on a walk in the woods, basically.
Yeah.
That's it. And Winterbird, or sorry. When Winter Comes is like just another song of that great tradition of his.
He was talking about in the interview that one of the things he did towards the end of his time in the Beatles is he went and got he decided to get his own Christmas tree because before at Apple Records they would take care of his Christmas tree for him and and he decided, he said, no, I like the idea of going and picking out and getting your own Christmas tree. And that I just love that he's still that person, even though he's, you know, plays stadiums and everything. That's the kind of stuff that's important to him. Or making a table at his place in Scotland. He learned how to make a table and spent a lot of time learning how to glue it perfectly and everything. And that it's just pretty charming that you feel that he's still a guy who grew up in Liverpool.
He's just a regular dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he's just a regular dude who happens to be Paul McCartney. Like it's all on the, like, it's all visible. Like if he wasn't just a regular Joe that happened to be the most famous regular Joe in the history of the planet, like, you know, he'd have huge mansions there. He doesn't have mansions. I'm sure he has more properties than most people, but like he's got country homes that are like normal sized country homes, you know, like I just think that stuff kind of speaks to who he is. He's not a show off. He still has that kind of wartime, you know, humility and sensibility and I don't know, but just like really translates.
Reconnecting with being a regular person is something that has been important to him as long as he's been famous.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's even in the Beatles Live at the BBC, you know, which is I think before Beatlemania had even hit the United States, and they were just big in England. And you know, the interviewer asks him, "What do you miss most, or what's the hardest part about being a Beatle?" And he's like, "Oh, you miss the regular things, like riding on the bus." You know, and that was in 1963. He was saying that. And I think he still has that. Like, I miss just being able to walk down the street and be a person. And for him to connect with that, it's like you got to get away from civilization. You got to go out on the farm and be out in the open land. So
But no,
I don't know if it was in the Rolling Stone piece that you did, Patrick, or if it was on the Smartless podcast where he was saying like one of the upticks of the pandemic is that everyone has masks on, so he can kind of go out and just fuck around like everyone else.
Yeah, but he does anyway. I mean, he spends some time in New York and this is just anecdotal stuff, but you hear stories about him being around the city all the time and walking around. And like, guy I work with, Andy, went to lunch a couple of years ago. We work right next to Rockefeller Center, so the Christmas tree was, speaking of Christmas trees, it was Christmas tree, and he said, I just saw Paul McCartney going at the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree, just by himself. And then another friend saw him at the movie theaters and just at a public movie theater. So it's important. And he said that he likes to go and ride the subway and the bus. He still does it.
Yeah, there's a great. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was actually just going to take a dark turn with this. I was just thinking about that sort of casual New York attitude is one of the things that ended up contributing to John Lennon's assassination. I wonder if that is ever on Paul McCartney's mind when he's freely walking around New York or doing stuff.
I was thinking about the same thing, but I also think that what contributed mostly to John Lennon's demise was a psychopath with a weapon.
Yeah, I mean, almost 100%.
But like, I think it's kind of cool that Paul doesn't let that rule his life, because he must have to think. I mean, also, like, George Harrison was stabbed in his home. Like, these are, these are things that are true. So. I don't know. I've never been a Beatle in my late 70s before, so I can't relate.
No.
But I thought that too when I read that. Like, oh, geez, like when you just have like a little security. But he's like, you know what? Whatever. Just gonna go to the movies. Yeah. I'm just gonna go watch. Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, I'm Paul McCartney, and I want to watch Wonder Woman. So get out of my way.
Right. Get out of my way. Well, Patrick, like having Zach home, it's, and never seeing him or rarely seeing him, it's strangely nice to have you home, even though we have not seen each other since you've been back.
I know. I wish we would. It's been so hard because every time it like keeps being like, let's see if things get better, but then it's here in Maine, it's kind of not getting better right now.
Oh, it's getting worse.
Yeah,
worse across the country, but at least there's light at the end of the tunnel, even though it seems to be a very, very long tunnel right now.
Yeah, as Kate McKinnon said on SNL last night, the light at the end of the tunnel has lit up the tunnel enough to show us how gross it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard a doctor on the news the other night saying, don't think of this as the beginning of the end. Think of it as the end of the beginning. That's where we're at now. So,
yeah.
Well, who knows? The three of us will get to hang out in the same room in a year or something.
Like, share a can of soda.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's one thing I miss about the before times is just hanging out with a bunch of adult friends and sharing one can of soda.
Yeah, we should have a beer together sometime, guys.
Like one beer together. We could share a bowl of soup.
I saw someone I follow on Twitter said that she knew of a comedy troupe before this all happened, and one of their like things they did was spit like a fountain of water into the other person's mouth.
Sure.
So I don't know.
Sadly, they all contracted COVID-19. Yeah.
Met numerous other things before COVID-19 came around.
Yeah. Actually, they probably had rocking immune systems. They're probably like whatever.
Yeah.
Well, we will talk. Zach, what do you got?
The other thing was, it sucked to see the Beatles night. It couldn't happen, but I think that was the right call. But was that a hard thing to figure out, or how did you? But it made total sense.
I had put I'm not bragging or whatever you'd call it, but like I'd put no less than 40 hours of work into organizing show that ultimately didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we went through many, many different iterations on what it could have been, and we finally landed on something that would work. I won't bore y'all with the details, but it was a lot of hoops to jump through, and a lot of like, well, if this, then this, but we can't do this because this, like all those kind of things. We finally found a mechanism that we could do it, and we found a way to have the band be ready safely. But then all of a sudden the numbers went up, and I was like, wait a minute, like even with reduced numbers, we're 20 plus people in the same room at the same time for a long time. It just doesn't make sense.
That was smart.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that to happen next year, though.
If we treated it like it was the last Beatles night, it very well could have been,
Right.
So on to another day. It'll still be the 19th annual.
Yeah.
I sat in my house and played Blackbird by myself. That was Beatles night this year.
Nice.
The smallest one yet. There you go. It even has like it even is number one at something.
Yeah.
This is the number one smallest Beatles night yet.
Yeah.
Superlatives for everybody. All right, guys. Well, cool. I'm going to go, I don't know, do something.
I might listen to this McCartney record again.
Yeah, why not? It's a really good one.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me, and stay safe. Can't wait to see you guys.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you too, bud.
All right, peace.
All right, bye.
Later.
Spencer and Zach Explore the Universe is brought to you by Maine Spirits, Bull Moose, State Theater Portland, Maine, Sun Tiki Studios, and the Maine Music Alliance. This show is a Mistakes Were Made production.